everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is going to be the last week of pre-revision. I was supposed to start filming on Friday. It is now Monday, so technically it's the last 5 days of pre-revision, but I have, unsurprisingly yet surprisingly, a lot that I need to do before I start rewriting my novel. I set the date to start on the first day of winter, December 21st, because I wanted to do the writing novelties, and it seems like enough time to get prepared. Honestly, to me, it seems like way too much time. I haven't written towards this project in 3 months, and I love writing, and I wish that I could say that I should have just hopped in, but I know all the things that I'm doing are very important to making sure that I'm ready and that I have all the world building done. That being said, in the last 5 days, I need to read through the entire book because for some reason, I still haven't done that yet. I've started reading the beginning over and over, but that isn't going to help me. I need to read the whole book. I need to see where the main problems are and what I need to fix. I also need to make myself a world building book bible for my book, because when I first wrote the first draft, I didn't actually include a lot of world building aspects. I knew the bare minimum to get the project off the ground, and I think that that was good for me as a first draft because I can get overwhelmed by history and deciding when and what things happen. But I think what I found is I wanted to be a note card girl. Like, I literally have so many note cards laid out trying to like make a timeline, but I think there's something about it that just makes me so overwhelmed, and it just feels so busy, and I don't know what it is. But if I open up a Google document and I just start typing, like, there is so much less pressure on me. And if I open a notebook and I just start doodling to try to come up with all the architectural designs, but there's no pressure for it to be perfect the first time, eventually I get down to like a design I like or to a timeline I like. And I'm trying to explain this without giving too much away with my book, but there are multiple different timelines and things that I'm drawing inspiration from that I'm having to align in a very specific way, and I want it to be satisfying to the reader, but it's so difficult to figure out where all the puzzle pieces fit and to drill down and write the history of my world. I need to make sure I know as much as I can, as much as I possibly can, before getting into draft 2. I've been ruminating, I've been thinking about it long enough. I need to decide, and if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. This is just the second draft. Oh my gosh, I don't know how many drafts of this book I'm gonna do. I've never actually read any of Brandon Sanderson's books, and I want to so badly, but I love watching his videos, and the idea of all of these fantasy authors that spent 10 years writing these projects and developing these worlds, I'm like, I want to develop my world to that extent, but I don't want to spend 10 years doing it. And off note, I think this is one of the main problems people find with consuming content these days, is especially with books, people don't spend as much time on them as they used to. I don't think they don't spend as much time ruminating and thinking about it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, some books don't need that much thought, but I don't know, it's kind of like this fast fashion thing with writing. Like, you, in a day and age where everything is quick and you can get something at the click of the button, we as writers struggle with the fact that sometimes we just have to sit back and take a long time to write. But anyway, also, side note, I don't know if you can tell by the quality, but my husband got me the Sony ZV-E10 camera for Christmas, and we opened our presents to each other early, so I get to use my camera, and the image, it looks so much clearer. I just love it. I am so grateful to have this camera, and I don't know, it's just so wonderful. Also, if you're a new authortuber, don't feel like you have to buy a new camera. I bought it very, very early on. I probably should have waited till I like got more, I don't know, subscribers, I don't know, but I knew that this was something that I wanted to invest my time into this channel, and to me that made it worth it. I've been posting YouTube videos for years, not on this channel, on a different channel. I've been posting content for years, and in my brain everything's finally clicking on how to make content better, and something I'm really proud of. I got completely off track. I plan on this book being a part of a series, and I just need to figure out, I know whose story I want to tell next, but I need to know how many people's stories I want to tell, so I know how many books this needs to be. And at the very least, I need to plan out book 2. I don't want people looking at the book series and saying, you should have planned this out better. I want it to be very clear from book 1 where this is going. I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to be able to leave little seeds in book 1 that you'll be able to look back on, like books down the line. I want there to be very, very clear, very, very purposeful connections. And I will also be traveling the day that I start writing, and we're gonna get going. See you in the next clip. Hi everyone, it's later in the day. It's almost 2 o'clock actually. I just finished up with what I need to do for beta reading today in order to finish up beta reading before I start working on rewriting my own book. So that was fun. It was nice to just sit on the couch and have some writing vlogs in the background while I kind of look at somebody else's story. I know I've said this on my channel before, but I love getting the opportunity to see what other writers create and just to be able to look at that. So if you guys actually have any books that you need beta read, I would 100% be down to do that. I actually have an account set up on Fiverr. It's the same name that I have on this account. So if that's something that you need, I would totally be open to do that. Just so you know, the beta reading that I'm doing now isn't through my Fiverr account. It was just someone asking for it on TikTok, and I hadn't had beta reading experience before, so I was like, I would love to help you and I would love to beta read because your book sounds really cool. But it's just been such an awesome experience, and it's really helped me be able to understand and analyze and understand writing craft better. But anyway, because I got that done for the day, I think I'm gonna get started on my book Bible. I think I just realized that I never introduced myself. Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm an aspiring writer, and I'm currently working on my novel, Project AOS, which I finished writing on September 19th, around that time. So I know that a lot of fantasy is secondary world. I'm pretty sure secondary world is where it's not in the same world as our own. And then there's I'm guessing it's primary is where it is in our world, and it's kind of immersed that way. Anyway, how my world works is it's basically the real world, except things have happened, certain scientific advancements have happened in the last century, and countries have been focusing on different technological goals to the point where it is very similar to our world, and there are similar things, but there's also things that, like, let me think of a good example, and this is something that I might change, so don't hold me to this, but in my book they don't have iPhones. And that is because they are really technologically advanced, but there isn't a market for it because it's not what the world cares about. It cares about developing this different sort of technology, the government does, so they put all of their focus into that. So they are very technologically developed, like even more so than we are in this world, and there are fantastical aspects to it. But there are also situations where it's like thrusted back in the past, because like I'm gonna have my main character carry around, like, I don't know if I want to do a cassette tape or like some sort of Walkman to listen to music, but like things like that where it kind of feels older and nostalgic. I need to figure out the actual date, but I think it's like 1990s, early 2000s kind of era situation. But they're very technologically advanced. So it's in the past, but it's science fiction, and it's like on a completely different timeline, an alternate timeline than we are right now. I don't want to give too much away. I probably already have. But like that's like an explanation of our world. So I need to figure out what things happen that do correlate with this world and what things don't happen and how that affects everything. And I'm honestly jealous of people that just build their own fantastical worlds right now and like their own like maps, their own places, because it is so difficult. Like, merit to all writers and everything they come up with. It's absolutely excellent, but the fact that mine is in the real world but on an alternate timeline, it means it's so finicky to get right, and there are so many plot holes and little world things that I could miss. And I just want to make sure to get it right. That's another thing. When I do beta readers, I really want to get experts to read it. Like, I want to find some experts in specific fields that also care about science fiction, fantasy, to read these books. And I want to get regular beta readers too that are experts on writing. But I think especially with how intense the world building is, that it is extremely important for me to get experts in other fields to kind of review it. I just want to get people who know their stuff. I feel like that's often a gripe people have with science fiction. They're like, obviously there's fantasy to it, but there has to be some sort of logic in it. Like, there has to be some sort of realistic aspects to it. But anyway, that was a ramble. I'm gonna get to working on my book Bible and setting up the government and basically the entire world. No big deal. No big deal. And I will see you guys in the next clip. So I think I figured out how to fix the problem, and it was something that I had originally alluded to. One of my characters states we probably would have been to the moon right now if we hadn't been focused on this thing. So instead of having the space race, they have the race for the technology that's developed in my book, and that's why it is developed so fast. And because of this, I was just looking at a list of like things that weren't invented because of the space race. And in my book, they don't have mobile phones. They have telephones, they have wall phones. I think they're gonna have carry phones, but they don't look like the phones they have today. They're more like flip phones, basically. And it's because it wasn't developed as fast because certain things that were developed because of the space race, like the technology that allows you to have a camera in your phone, wasn't developed because the space race didn't happen. So I need to kind of plant a historical seed, if you get what I'm saying, to like make them choose this option instead. There needs to be something that pulls them in this direction. And I'm so happy. Legitimately, I fixed it. That's all. I'm gonna get to working on that. See you guys in the next one. Tuesday night. I didn't actually get to film much today because I was working on beta reading, and then I was reading The Ranger's Apprentice, which I've been reading with my husband because he loves those books, but I am like 7 books behind him. So I read that for a bit with him on the couch, and that was pretty much my day. We went out to dinner, which was really nice. And now it's actually time to start working on the project. So yesterday, I know I was ranting for forever about like the fact that I just couldn't figure out the government. And I think what really helped me was I started to think about all the dystopian books that I love. Like The Giver Quartet is one of my favorite series of all time. I love The Hunger Games. And books like that where there is some clear intention put in the government, but the intention isn't put like into the past and like how this came to be. It's just showing the potential of what humanity could become. And that if it doesn't serve the story, and it doesn't come up, and it's just a little bit of cool bit of world building that doesn't actually add, that I shouldn't be so stressed about it. That being said, what I was saying about the technology that my science fiction / fantasy novel focuses on, starting after World War II, and instead of them starting the space race, they start the race for this technology, actually ended up, after I thought about it for a lot longer, it actually works so perfectly. And it's not a big deal. I don't even know where I'm gonna write it into the story, but me as the writer being able to understand more the depth of the iceberg and just being able to understand all the details behind and why and where and how this has even come to be is so important. I was also talking, and I was able to figure all that out, and I got a lot done with world building, a lot done with government, so we were looking good in that front. But I was also talking to my husband today about just the book in general, because he constantly listens to me rant about this story and offers the best advice and asks the best questions, things that I don't even think about. So he's provided me with some things to think about, and I think that there are some little small nitpicky things that I'm going to change to make sure I continue getting this book in the direction it needs to be going into, because it is going to be a part of a series. How long or short that series is, I have no idea. So that being said, I need to be able to at least align the book with the timeline that I'm basing it off of, so that when I go to write the next books, there is a clear step that I need to be going in. And I'm going to try to plan out the next few books still, not few books, just the next book, or like get a better idea of the direction it's going. And I'm gonna still do that, but it's helpful that I'm taking inspiration from certain things so that it has some logical sense, and that's helpful. But he pointed out some really important things to me and some different facets and different organizations that I can create for this government. But I think tonight we're just gonna have like a cozy little world building session, and I am gonna be trying to come up with names for like who's in charge of certain things. I'm going to work on planning out organizations. I'm gonna take all of my brain dump and pick dates for when everything is happening, and I'm gonna set those in stone. And is there anything else I'm gonna do? I think that's going to be it. I think I'm just gonna say that today I need to figure out government and I need to figure out politics. I may work on some designing and architecture aspects, and then figure out not really intense details, but just enough for me to go off of for other governments in the entire world. World building is so complex, and I need to know all of these things on the off chance that they happen to come up. And if you think that I'm doing too much, I'm not, because I barely did anything for draft 1, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been so overwhelmed. But I'm finding that it can be so overwhelming starting out with world building. It can be paralyzing almost, because there are so many different directions that a story can go in, and it's difficult to find the right one. But once you do find the right one, it just fits so perfectly into place, and you'll be so glad that you did it. Like, obviously you don't need to come up with a random person in a random town, ages away, and their history. Like, you don't need to get that complex. But it's important to know things that are going to affect the environment that your character is in, and that includes government, that includes politics, that includes the culture that they're in. And I am taking the time to figure that out now. So I'm going to get to figuring that out, probably put some writing vlogs or just some music on the TV, and that will hopefully be my Tuesday night. I will see you in the next clip. Bye. And welcome to an episode of Am I Insane? Probably. Is that okay? Not really, but here we are anyway. So yesterday I didn't actually end up adding a lot to my book Bible document because I was trying to figure out how to upload a large amount of footage from my camera onto my tiny limited storage Mac computer. And so that essentially took up a big chunk of my day. But what I did get done was I added a lot to my wall. And it is so funny because I was showing my husband my wall. And in my book, one of my characters makes a wall like this, and they call it their madman board. And I was like, yeah, because he read the first chapter, and I was like, yeah, this is what I meant. By the madman board, this is exactly what I meant. This is what this character had. But anyway, so now that we have our madman board, I will be adding the whole like consecutive timeline to the right of it, like on this side, I think. So I'm gonna spend time doing that, but what I need to do before I put it on my wall is I need to go into my book Bible document and I need to finish it. I still need to plan out the series in alignment with my timeline. I also need to go in and give all the government officials names. And what I was doing before I started filming today was I was going through my book document and I was looking for every single name I ever mentioned, and I'm recording that down in what I call my character library. And then I'm gonna go in and make sure I have descriptions for each character, and that I like as I'm writing, if I'm like, I have no idea what this character looks like, I'm able to go straight to that document and to be able to look at that stuff. Also, that'll help with like incorporating like diversity and making sure all of my characters have like different backgrounds, different experiences, because like I just want to make sure that a lot of people feel represented. I probably won't go into too much detail, but I thought it would be really fun to like not only do physical descriptions, but give all of the characters wants and needs. And like, if their need has already been met and they're a pretty like emotionally stable person and they're very wise and they're more of a mentor figure, like I'll just kind of incorporate that in there as well. But I want to add like a small little paragraph of who they are so that the world almost feels more 3D than just 2D to me. That being said, I think I also need to give the government some like positive thing. Not so much like, oh, they're evil and there's like protagonist, antagonist, but that there's like complexity and there's more levels to it and there's more going on. So there's that. And then I also need to add in a few groups of characters, like opportunities that I wanted to include and people that I wanted to include in the book, but I didn't get to it because just writing the way I was, just planting, I didn't get to it because I didn't know, you know, the right place. But now that I finished the book, I can kind of like get a good idea. I also need to completely print out my book, completely read my book, and completely replot, as in like type out the plot I currently have, and then on another document or like something like that, type out the new plot, but like in extreme detail. I have a lot to do and only today and tomorrow to do it. So this is really gonna be a rush to the finish. So we are going to go on a rush to the finish. Cue the dramatic music. See you in the next clip.
Lighten up, take me on your magic river. Tell me all your dreams alive.
Hello everyone. So it is now Friday. And last night, past me decided to do future me a favor and edit through the majority of this video so I could post it today. And while I am grateful for the sentiment, I wish that I had actually reread through the book a bit more, because I'm only about halfway through chapter 1 and there's 24 chapters in its current state, which could change, but I'm nowhere near even a third or a quarter of the way through this book that I need to reread and annotate. And then after that, I need to replot. At the very least, this book, I don't think that I'm ready to do book 2 yet. I wanted to, but there's just so many different ideas flowing through my head, and I think book 1 offers a sturdy enough setup and enough enough hints as to what's to happen that like I can kind of wait till I'm there. And even if I just get one word down tomorrow is the 1st of winter, so it's the start of the writing Novelties Diaries and the day that I wanted to start draft 2. If I can only get the words chapter 1 into that document, you know what? That is okay. It's gonna be fine. As long as I write something tomorrow, I can catch myself up, because I gave myself 3 months to work on this draft. I already have a full other draft written, so it's not like I have to come up with things as much. But yeah, we are going to get this done, and I'm going to stop talking because I don't know what time it is. It's sometime between 7 and 8, and we need to get going. So, and I need to do laundry, so I don't know how much recording I'm gonna get done today because the washer is really loud. But anyway, we are gonna get to reading and replotting, and pray to God that we will get this done by the end of the day, but if not, it's okay. And I will see you in the next clip. So I was looking at my book Bible document and the timeline and everything clicked to me on something. So like, I may have ideas for book 3, maybe. It depends the order of everything happens, but like, I just came up with like, it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited. I won't actually share what it is, but just so you know, like, these are the moments that all of this is worth it for. The moments where things click and I'm like, it's gonna be so cool. and I'm so excited to write it, even though it's a bit down the line, but like even these little things are getting me in the right direction of where this story is going. So love a nice clicking moment. So I'll see you in the next clip.
Tell me all your dreams align. Sign me up and tell me about the people that you know who are trying to feel alive. Life can get hard, so honey, if you need to cry, just come share my pillow and rain, rain, go away.
Hello everyone. So it is, gosh, I don't even know what time it is. It's probably like 10 o'clock at night, but I just finished reading my book and I just decided to just read it all the way through because I wasn't going to get annotations done. I got very, very minimal replotting done this morning, and I think that this is just, I think that I have done as much as I can possibly do before getting into draft 2, and I'll be rewriting completely from scratch. Like, I think I'll have my binder open while I start rewriting draft 2, but like I might copy like very few things over, but for the majority of it I think I'm just gonna write from scratch, because there are so many things that I want to add and make better and change, and I think the best way for this story to improve is for me to just completely like scrap and redo. Not saying that like the first book is bad, but one of the authors that I really enjoy watching is Christiane Jones, and she rewrites every single one of her drafts because it's just the best way that she's able to go about the creative process. And when I first heard about that, I was like, I could never do that. But after writing and finishing a book, I understand the want to just like, oh, I'm going to take what I've learned in this draft, and I'm just going to start fresh on a clean slate. Now, I might not do this with every draft, but I know that like developmental wise, I need to do it for this draft. So I've done as much world building as I possibly can. I've read the book my book was inspired by. I've read Save the Cat. I've reread through my entire book. I've done some annotating. I've added to my book Bible, and I've fleshed that out a bit, at least for like the next kind of 2 to 3 books. I didn't end up plotting the second book, but I think that's okay, because even through this process I've developed some ideas of where I think it could go, and I think it's gonna take me rewriting this draft to be able to get any more inklings of information. I haven't made a set replot, but I have a bunch of ideas swarming in my head of things that I know that I want to add. So at some point, hopefully, I'll write those down, but I'm gonna go ahead and consider this the end of my pre-revision prep stage, because tomorrow is the first day of winter, and tomorrow I will finally get to start writing again, and I am just so excited. This has just been such an amazing experience to be one of the few that has started and finished a novel, and I just can't wait to make this book better. Like, I was bawling at the end of this book because of course I already know everything that happens, but I just love these characters so much, and there were like little lines that I had forgot that I'd written that just made me like sob legitimately. I love this book and the characters and the world. Just with all of my heart, and I care so much about it. So I'm so excited for this new chapter and for the closing of this one and getting to write draft 2. It's just been so phenomenal. And if you made it to the end of this vlog, just thank you so much for watching. It has been such a pleasure to film this vlog. It's been very fun with my new camera and getting to film all the cool shots. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave the typical like fantasy swords crossing emoji. I think that would be pretty cool. And if you have an AuthorTube channel, as always, please leave it down below. I would love to follow you. If you want to talk about where you are currently with your WIP, I would love to hear that as well. If you want to talk about your WIP in general, or if you have any questions about my creative process, please put it down in the comments. I would love to talk to you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.